Great, welcome everyone. It's Darren. Today we're going to talk about something called seasonality. As you might guess from the name seasonality, it applies to different seasons of the year, but really it's a lot broader than that. Seasonality is the tendency of data to fluctuate in a reasonably predictable way over time. And that can be from season to season. It can be from month to month. It can be from day to day within a week. It can be even within a day from time to time. Uh, so if we look at some examples, we all have heard about Black Friday. Black Friday, the name came about from that being the day that retailers, especially like toy retailers, uh, their sales finally started to go into the black. They've lost money all year up to this point. Finally, on Black Friday, they start making money from holiday sales. Uh, College bookstores have, if you've ever been a college student, you know that first week of class is a huge rush. People going in to buy their textbooks. The last week of class, people going to return their textbooks after their final exam and get some trivial amount back compared to what they paid for their books new, of course. Um, Lawn mowing services. So I'm in Michigan. Lawn mowing is something that happens here for about maybe late March up until August, maybe into September, and then there's no lawn mowing. No one's cutting the grass here in January and February. Snow plowing, on the other hand, that will pick up typically sometime in December, and then you'll have snow plowing will happen probably into February. Occasionally, it's as far as March. Uh, so very seasonal sort of work. Um, doesn't have to be that long of a time period. Look at restaurants. Restaurants all have lunch rush, dinner rush. Maybe they have a breakfast rush, depending on the restaurant. Um, Bars, Friday and Saturday nights for most bars. That's their busy times. You go into a bar at 2 o'clock on a Thursday, not going to be real crowded. Uh, Highways, rush hour. You know, if you're out on a major interstate highway uh, in a major urban area and it's 5:30 on Thursday, that's probably about as busy as that road ever gets. Uh, so it's really useful to understand the seasonality that's going on with any system you're working with because you can plan around it. If you're working in retail and you know that, starting Black Friday, you're going to get slammed through the end of December, that means you need to have extra staffing then. Maybe try to cut back on vacation time a little bit if you can, bring in some extra temporary help. If you are scheduling road work on that major interstate highway we talked about, uh, I would think between, say, 7 and 9 in the morning and between 4 and 6 in the afternoon on a weekday. Not the day you really want to be out there closing lanes down. Uh, so it's good to understand your seasonality, and it's good to actually have a good idea of just how much seasonality you have, because that lets you plan better for it. So let's take a look at how we do that. Here I have an example. This is uh, some made up numbers, but the proportion's about right. I used to work IT for a big company that ran a number of call centers, and the call center volume was up and down wildly throughout the year, but it was fairly predictable. If we look here, January, always a ton of calls. We just get slammed in January. Uh, then it would tend to taper off a little bit, go to sort of an average number. We'd get to summer and the volume would drop. And it would stay down until September. And right after Labor Day weekend, call volume would spike every year. Then it'd drop a little bit in October, November, December as the holidays come. Call volume would drop way down again. And then the next year, would have double our usual volume. And it's just the way the calls came in. Uh, so if you know that's going to happen, if you have some idea of what the numbers are going to look like, that lets you plan for it. It also lets you tell how you're doing compared to past years. Whereas if you don't actually calculate that seasonality in, you really don't have any idea what's going on. So, how do you calculate seasonality? We're going to start off with our calculations by just doing some averages. So, we're going to average up the month. The more data you have, the better. A single data point is usually useless and completely worthless. If you've got years of data, that's better. If you're that bar we talked about and you're trying to figure out Friday, Saturday rush, if you've got several weeks at least, that's good. And actually, in that case, you may have Friday, Saturday rush during college, Friday, Saturday rush when not during college. If you're at a on a college campus, for example, so you could actually have multiple types of seasonality overlapping. Here we're just going to look at one. So this is just going to be average of B2 to B4. And we'll just copy that for the whole year. Okay, we're also going to average up the years here equals average of B2 to M2. And we're going to average those as well. Okay, so what we know is that we have an average call volume of 11,111.1 calls per month. Okay, well, let's round these things down just to make our lives a little bit easier to see what we're looking at here. In fact, we'll just do the whole thing. So I'm going to do format cells, number. Yeah, I'm just going to do 0 decimals because that should be fine for what I'm working with. Okay, so here I see I have 111,000, excuse me, I have 11,111 calls in the average month. Some months like December are 4,600. That's barely a third. Other months like January is double that average number. Okay, so how do I calculate a seasonality index? Well, the seasonality index is a big scary term for just divide two numbers. And in this case, '06 is my average for the year. So this is just equals B6 divided by '06. And that gives me a 2. And actually, that doesn't give me a 2 exactly. I'm going to actually change that formatting back a bit here. Don't be afraid to bounce your cell formats back and forth all over the place. In fact, we can even make that a percentage if we want. So that's going to be a 204%. So January is 204% of the average for the seasonality index. So what if I copy this over? So I see I have, 99%, 99, so pretty much normal, a little bit below normal, quite a bit below normal. And, things pick up again, like I said, September, October, and I don't even have half the usual here in December. I can use that for staffing. I can use that to decide, I'm going to remodel my office. When is the best time to remodel my office? Well, let's see. I don't want to remodel the office when things are busy. I don't want to remodel the office when things are absolutely insane. Um, I want to remodel the office when things are slow. November, December look good. Uh, what about vacation planning? if people are saying, when is a good time for vacation? November, December looks like a great time for vacation. Um, you can't always do it that way. People want to take vacations when they want to take vacations, when they need vacations. But that's a way you can do it. Okay, so what can I do with my seasonality index now that I have it? Now that I know that January is 204% of normal volume. Well, the answer is that you can take that number and let's say um, my number comes in today at I just got my January numbers for year four, and they were 21,000. Okay, 31,500. Okay, so how does this compare to my normal month for the year? And what you have to do is you have to deseasonalize your data. Another one of those big scary words that just means you just divide it out. So this is equals B10 divided by B8, and that tells you that relative to your normal monthly average, uh, your deseasonalized data is 15,441. Uh, so if you continued at this rate for the entire year, you'd be averaging 15,441 for the year. Uh, Useful information to know because this gives you your averaging values. Uh, Probably the seasonality index is more useful than the deseasonalized data. Uh, where we will work with the deseasonalized data is where you get into to weighting your data and weighted averages and things. And of course, that's another video, and we will get to that. But first, if you got anything from this video, if you learned anything, please hit like and subscribe and hit the notify button. That tells YouTube that this is worth watching. Keeps YouTube creators like myself motivated to keep producing videos. Uh, Also, if I do have a Patreon page at patreon.com/data analysis excellence. If you could help out with a few bucks a month there, that'd be great. That also obviously is something that keeps us YouTube creators motivated. So if you have any questions, be sure to leave them down in the comments and subscribe. And when I release the weighted averages video, you'll be one of the first to find out about it. And I look forward to seeing you back here again in the future.